I'm giving away this fantasy-themed mystery box. It contains merchandise from The Witcher, Game of Thrones, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I'll even be throwing in this Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings starter kit. So if you want to get your hands on it, stick around to the end of the video to know how. Bluey the animated children's TV programme was created in Australia and has grown more and more popular since it premiered in 2018. The show expands on a colourful everyday life of a blue heeler dog called Bluey. We also get to know her friends and family who add fun and fresh ideas into her life. The rest of the heeler family includes Bandit, her dad, Chili, her mum, and her younger sister Bingo. In America, Bluey began airing on Disney+, and here in the UK began airing on the BBC. The show's funny and family-friendly reputation has blossomed again recently, especially on TikTok. Each episode is short and easy to watch, with most being less than 10 minutes long, and many being posted on YouTube through the series' official channel. It was also announced that the series had broken a record for Australia's most watched show ever, with an average of 11 million views per episode of its most recent season. Sadly, after 3 seasons, the creators will be taking a well-deserved break, but they will be coming back in the future. So these are the best episodes of Bluey. So starting off this list, we have Grannies. In this episode, Bluey and Bingo transform into their granny alter egos, which is one of the most adorable running gags in the whole show. Every time they get into some Nana mischief, Bingo wants to do the floss dance. Bluey gets upset because grannies obviously don't do that dance, but Bingo doesn't want to play unless she does it in her own way. Bluey wants to play, but she also can't say grannies floss when they don't. In the spirit of compromise, Bluey teaches their Nana to dance over a video call. It may not be the easiest form of compromise, but Bluey did find a way for both her and Bingo to be happy. Besides, Bluey admits that she was wrong about grannies, so that alone is a big lesson for everyone to learn about working well with others. And number 9, we have Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound. Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound begins with Bingo spending some time in hospital with her mum by her side. Bluey and Dad collaborate on a funny video for her, incorporating the sisters' cousins, Muffin and Socks, into the mix. In the story, Bluey plays a character called Barnacus who adopts a puppy named Bumpy, played by Socks. When Bumpy becomes ill, the baker, played by Muffin, suggests to Barnacus to go see the Wise Old Wolfhound, played by their Aunt Trixie. As Barnacus tries to complete her difficult task, Bingo learns from her sister that everyone gets sick sometimes. At number 8, we have Onesies. Bluey and Bingo have a big family, but one person they've hardly ever seen is their Aunt Brandy. Chili's sister hasn't come round in 4 years, but she eventually comes to see her nieces and she brings gifts. And that is a cheetah onesie for Bingo and a zebra onesie for Bluey. Unfortunately, Bingo loves her cheetah onesie too much and starts playing cheetah around the house. As they run away from a wild Bingo, Bluey asks why she can't have the cheetah onesie even though she likes cheetahs more than zebras. Her mum uses that as a way to answer Bluey's other question about why her aunt never visits. She says, and I quote, "Sometimes things just aren't meant to be and there really isn't anything that anyone can do about it." Sadly, this is where we learn that Brandy is unable to have kids herself. However, it is a great lesson for parents on how to talk to their kids about tough subjects. And I'm not gonna lie, that episode really hit me in the feelings. At number 7, we have The Show. On Mother's Day, a mishap with Mum's breakfast makes Bingo cry. Mum imparts a lesson that everyone could benefit from hearing. She says, and I quote, "I have a little cry, then I pick myself up, dust myself off and keep going." As in, the show must go on, and the idea leads to the sisters putting on a show. It's a play that recounts their mother's life. When an accident with her costume makes Bingo upset again during her performance as Mum, Bluey encourages her to come back on stage. Mum of course cherishes Bingo's resilience as she puts her lesson into practice. Coming in at number 6, we have Perfect. This time it's Father's Day and Bluey and Bingo sit together with Mum at a table outside to make some handmade cards for Bandit. Bluey becomes discouraged with the task of making her card absolutely perfect, while making a collection of different drawings that she casts aside because they don't appear good enough for her. Bluey finally learns from Mum that drawing is tough, but it's a good thing that she's tough, emphasising that pursuing perfection will never satisfy anyone. Bluey makes her dad a beautiful piece of artwork that depicts them both together. Here at the halfway point, we have Baby Race. Baby Race opens with Bluey comparing herself to her friend Judo, which leads Mum to tell her and Bingo about what Bluey was like when she was a very young pup. Chili explains how she felt ill-equipped during Bluey's slower approach to baby milestones, which is exemplified when baby Juno wins the baby race. Coco's mother pays the healers a visit, embracing Chili and telling her that she's doing a great job. which leads Chili to cry both in her memory and in the present while telling the story to her daughters. This episode shows how parents can lean on and support one another while raising kids challenges them. Coming in at number 4, we have Butterflies. Bluey, Bingo and Judo play butterflies together, but Judo's self-centered style of play leads her and Bluey to abandon little Bingo. Bingo sings the adorable Poor Little Bug on the Wall song in the beginning, eventually realising that the two girls have left her behind, which makes her really upset, and then she sings a more tragic version of the song. Bluey decides to do the right thing and go back to Bingo, singing her song while reuniting with her sister. Then the three of them make up as the episode comes to a close. The episode emphasises the inclusion of younger kids by the bigger kids during play and the strength of siblings. Coming in at 3rd place, we have phones. Technology can be a great thing to make life easier, but it can't replace the pure joy of getting out into the world, connecting with friends and playing. In this episode, Bluey and Bingo play the game Restaurant with their granddad. However, he is a bit old school and doesn't quite understand the game. All they really do is order food off their cardboard phones. So Granddad hatches up a plan to get the game going for real life. After all, it's hard to keep your eyes glued to a screen when there's a crocodile on the loose. This episode does a wonderful job of showing kids exactly why putting down the electronics for a while in favour of playing in the real world is so valuable. It shows how much fun it is to play a game where you have to run around and use your imagination. Taking 2nd place is Fairy Tale. When Bluey and Bingo want to know if fairy tales are true or not, their dad Bandit decides to tell them a story. The tale involves a curse, a princess, a mean brother, and it all takes place in a wild place called the 80s. The sisters are surprised to learn that their lovable dad actually made fun of his younger brother when they were growing up. As the story goes on, Bandit's older brother finally has enough of it though and jinxes Bandit, so that he can't speak until someone says his name. While Bandit clearly intended to teach his kids a lesson about being nice to each other, it's also a good lesson for the audience, both kids and grown-ups alike. Before we get to the top spot, here are some honourable mentions. Camping. Camping is one of the sweetest episodes of Bluey, in which Bluey and her family take a camping trip. After venturing off into the Australian bush, Bluey comes across a young dog named Jean-Loup who speaks French. Despite speaking different languages, the two become close friends until Jean-Loup and his family leave the campground, which leaves Bluey feeling heartbroken. In a memorable section of the story, Mum tells Bluey that sometimes special people come into our lives, stay for a bit, and then they have to go. The episode's end skips forward to Bluey's teenage years, where she reunites with an older version of Jean-Loup. Tradies. In this episode, Bluey and Bingo spy on some tradies while they build a fish pond in the backyard. As dogs do, Bluey and Bingo bark at the intruders before running and hiding. Obviously, they are enemies, so the Healer sisters have to spy on them. Bluey and Bingo attempt to map out all the enemies involved in the situation, including Chocolate Milk and Cherry, and a mysterious person he keeps texting. Of course, the kids do learn that no one was really their enemy, and Chocolate Milk, or Chippy, and Cherry are just a young couple going through an argument. However, this is a very heartwarming episode. It combines both the purity of a child's simplistic view of the world and an adult's understanding that relationships are complicated. And finally, finishing off this list, we have Mini Bluey. In Mini Bluey, Bandit expresses how he wishes that Bluey and Bingo were the same to make everything more simple. Bluey takes this as a chance to turn Bingo into a mini-me, transforming her little sister to look like her. The sisters eventually switch gears and turn Bluey into a big Bingo instead. They annoy their parents so much that they end up begging for them to go back to normal, which finally makes the important roles they each fill in their family clearer to the girls. So that's my list. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. And for whatever reason you haven't seen Bluey before, I highly recommend you go and check it out. And if you have seen it, what's your favourite episode? And if you want to win this fantasy themed mystery box, all you need to do are these 3 simple things. Leave a like on this video, comment on any of my videos, and subscribe to my channel, and one lucky random subscriber will be announced on the 31st of July. You can even hit that bell icon to keep up to date with my latest uploads and giveaways, such as my comic book giveaways every fortnight. And lastly, before I go, I just want to say a massive thank you for watching and to smash that like button. It may just be a minor thing for you, but for me, it really helps me out and it helps this channel grow. So with all of that being said, I will see you in the next one, but until then, take care.